faster, smarter, better. That's often the promise that comes with modern technology. But for whom and at what cost? Hello and welcome. I'm Sadhika Tiwari and you're watching Eco India. In the last few decades, technology has reshaped our world in ways that we couldn't even imagine until a few years ago. But all of it comes at a risk, draining resources, widening inequality, and sometimes serving profit over purpose. Artificial intelligence is already a part of many lives, but every chatbot query, every search comes at a cost which is often invisible at the first sight. Residents of Navi Mumbai are no strangers to water shortages. And now, just around the corner, massive AI data centers are expanding and they need a lot of water. So, can these cities, which are already thirsty, support the AI boom?
Some 20 years ago, when Sahana Chattopadhyay moved here to Navi Mumbai, it was the greener and sleepier alternative to the metropolis of Mumbai just across the bay. But recently, life here has been getting harder for residents with increasing pressure on limited resources.
There has been water crunches and it has been erratic. So, like I said, days on end there will be nothing, and then suddenly for 2 days, 3 days, water won't come, and then there is a scramble to call in water tankers to reduce the number of hours we get water supply. And there have been times when we've had water supply for like maybe just an hour a day, you know, or just an hour in the evening.
One of the reasons is Navi Mumbai's key role in India's AI revolution. The city and its surrounding regions already host 60% of India's data centers. Every time someone in India accesses cloud services or asks AI to summarize an email, chances are the query passes through a data center in Navi Mumbai. Housed in massive facilities like these, rows of storage servers are mushrooming across the region. All training data and calculations rely on tens of thousands of servers that use millions of liters of water for cooling. And the side effects of this new industry are being felt by those like Sahana Chattopadhyay, who are left with the daily anxiety of the taps suddenly running dry.
The data centers require potable water, which is they require water that is of drinking quality that we get in our homes.
The data center boom in Navi Mumbai seems like it is here to stay. Industry leaders like the company Control.S are already drawing up expansion plans here due to its location on global data highways.
See, if we see India, there are two key important points we have to always remember. The first thing is where all the submarine cables are landing through which India connects to the rest of the world. And today, 95% of that capacity lands either in Mumbai or in Chennai.
The sector and Navi Mumbai's residents rely on the Mob Dam some 50 kilometers away for their water supply. Those with the resources to pay, like big industry or middle class consumers, have the easiest access. The shortfall in supply is felt almost acutely by families at the bottom of the income scale who live in informal settlements and don't even have direct water connections in their homes. However, experts say the effects of water scarcity will eventually be felt by everyone.
So I would say that the challenge is twofold. One is that the city supply and therefore city inhabitants are already going to feel that pressure of conflict with water, but the data center themselves are going to face these fluctuations of water scarcity, and therefore which may impact their business and operational standards.
The city administration says they are aware of the evolving water issues and are studying the new use patterns. Aiming to be a key city in the global AI infrastructure network, they are working on a plan to balance the different water needs of Navi Mumbai and its surroundings.
डेवलपमेंट होने से वो तो
When
है
a
अपना
city is
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर
developing
वो अगर वो
and the
उसको सपोर्ट करनी
infrastructure
है तो
can't keep
थोड़ा
up,
सा
it can cause problems. However, to deal with this kind of mismatch, we have created a master plan based on population projections up to 2055.
2055 तक कितना अपना सिटी का पॉपुलेशन होने वाला है, उसके लिए फिर क्या इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर लगेगा?
More dams and bigger reservoirs are on the cards. By 2030, 2 new dams are expected to be completed for the Navi Mumbai region alone. In the meantime, the administration is urging companies to use grey water for some of their cooling needs. Grey water is wastewater without human body waste. It may be filtered and treated but remains unfit for drinking.
So what Control S is doing is it is partnering with the government in using that treated water or the grey water into our data centers and then improve the PUE, which is the power usage efficiency for the data center, and in turn use less of power.
Navi Mumbai produces over 245 million liters of wastewater daily. Up to 3/4 of it could be classified as grey water. Developing systems to use it could make data center water supplies more sustainable. Still, citizens are pressing for more transparency going forward.
If you are going to use public land near residential areas, it makes sense, not only sense, it is mandatory that you take the people there into confidence and in consultation and in participation.
As the AI and cloud computing era gathers steam, cities are trying to find a balance between economic opportunity and growing water scarcity. Those like Sahana Chattopadhyay hope their voices are heard and the digital gold rush doesn't leave citizens like them high and dry.
Navi Mumbai is just one of the many places that are deeply affected by this increase in AI data centers. But communities across the world are now asking whether this digital future is worth sacrificing resources and our environment for, especially when a majority of these centers are being built in dry regions. But the real question is, can a digital future coexist with sustainability? Let's take a look at how other countries are approaching this issue and what are the solutions available.
Plans to construct data centres often meet a lot of pushback. As in other parts of the world, Latin America has seen protests. In 2023, severe water shortages gripped the country of Uruguay. It was the worst drought in 75 years. At this particularly dry time, Google showed up.
They wanted to use 7.6 million litres of water per day, enough for 22,000 people, and during a drought, an extreme water crisis.
Daniel Pena, a scientist and activist in the capital, Montevideo, says the community wasn't consulted.
There was no public dialogue and no public hearing. The project was classified as Category B, considered low to moderate risk. As a result, public involvement was minimal.
Daniel Pena is concerned about the impact of the Google Cloud project on the Santa Lucia River, which is important for Montevideo. The battle over water has already begun here. When there's no clean water from the tap, bottled water is the only option left. Data centers, the backbone of AI, need massive computing power. Power runs hot and cooling takes huge amounts of water. These huge centers are often built in some of the world's driest regions. More on that later. Google says it's investing more than $850 million in the Uruguay center. This is what the building site looked like in summer 2025. Construction in Canelones, which is near Montevideo, has been underway for a year. Municipal authorities have welcomed the project.
We hope that once it's up and running, they can generate synergies that can attract other types of industries and activities associated with technological innovation.
The data center industry's biggest global players are Amazon Web Services or AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. In many server hubs, most cooling water simply evaporates through towers. It's a standard practice.
In fact, evaporation is the most efficient way of removing heat. And that's why for example, we sweat. When we get too hot, that evaporation of our sweat off of our skin is an effective way of keeping us cool and keeping us from overheating.
Globally, the water consumption of data centres is set to double by 2030. After recent protests, Google spoke of a commitment to responsible water use. It now plans to cool its data centre in Uruguay with air. Sounds simple, but it's not. Water cools more effectively. Air cooling requires more energy, which often comes from fossil fuel plants.
It is possible or likely that many waterless cooling systems are less energy efficient compared to systems that utilize evaporation. And as a result, you end up just having a higher water footprint upstream at the power generation source as opposed to at the data center site itself.
We've seen this before, in Chile for instance, where Google's proposed computing facility also prompted protests over excessive water use. Santiago's environmental court partially revoked the project's approval. Now Google has to revise its plans and will likely switch to air cooling. So why build so many data centres in hot, dry regions with scarce water?
The main reason for looking for dry areas is both an efficiency reason and an avoidance of corrosion.
Some experts are calling for these digital facilities to be built in cooler regions for environmental reasons. Like here in Sweden. In Falun, about 200 kilometres from Stockholm, there's no shortage of water. And the electricity it uses is 100% renewable.
During winter time, we have cold temperature. We have like normally 20 degrees below zero, which gives us free cooling actually.
The Swedish computer centre is also built from wood. That's a common local resource that locks in carbon.
Now we're up to 95% of wood. And we find out that this is the most perfect way of building a computer center.
In the US, another massive data center recently opened in Memphis, Tennessee. Tech multi-billionaire Elon Musk is behind the AI supercomputer facility, which was completed in just 122 days, unusually fast for a project of this scale. Many residents are asking what its arrival will mean for their most vital resource.
Industries do need water for their process. Businesses do need water to make their revenue, but that should never be put in front of the drinking water needs of residents.
Its electricity comes from methane gas turbines. Residents in this predominantly black marginalised area worry about air and groundwater pollution and ignored environmental laws. Globally, data centre transparency is a big problem. Tech giants like Amazon, Microsoft and Google stand accused of failing to disclose key data on water and electricity use. Google declined our request to visit their site in Uruguay and turned down an interview too. Reliable data is extremely hard to come by.
Most of these other aspects of water consumption are not being indexed, are not being measured, so it's really very intransparent. I have my doubts, yes, because until now, what we can only do as researchers is try to use open source. We really don't know how much water they really consume.
These tech giants say their goal is to be water positive by 2030, meaning they'll provide more water than they use. But they don't say how water positivity will work. So what can we do? Every one of us can take small steps to ease the computing load. For example, use a calculator instead of artificial intelligence for simple maths. Stick to a simple search engine instead of asking AI. Or make less resource-intensive videos. But that alone won't make much of a dent. AI use and its data demand is only growing. The real challenge is making tech more environmentally sustainable.
AI has its environmental downsides, but in some cases it can also prove to be a powerful tool for protection. Let's head to the south of India to see one such example. Trains are far cleaner than cars or planes when it comes to emissions. But in India's forests, they've long been deadly for elephants. But now, artificial intelligence is being used to save lives on these tracks. Could this be an example of how technology balances progress with protection?
Red alert. Elephants on the track. Now, speed is of the essence. The control room staff alert the nearest station master and he, in turn, passes on the message to the train driver. I'm calling from the forest control room. An elephant has been spotted crossing near B10. If people act fast enough, the train driver can slow down and let the elephants cross the tracks at their own pace. We are in Madukarai forest near Coimbatore, in the west of Tamil Nadu. Every day, more than 200 trains travel through the dense woodland, which is also home to numerous elephants. Just a few years ago, creatures were regularly knocked down and killed in train collisions.
There was a very tragic incident when a baby elephant was standing on the track and the herd tried to protect the baby elephant and 3 elephants died after colliding with the speedy train. So I think that was a turning point for all of us. And then we decided that this cannot go on forever. Something needs to be done. And we also were very certain that only technology option will be the best option because human intervention has several limitations.
The solution? Cameras mounted along the rail line. In February 2024, forestry authorities in Tamil Nadu launched the EI project. With the help of thermal imaging and artificial intelligence, they can detect the movements of elephants even when they are a bit deeper in the forest.
The advantage of using artificial intelligence is that it learns over a period of time. It mimics the way you think. You have the option of just having the data and then manually analyzing it, or you have the data and somebody is not only analyzing it, giving you the feedback, enabling you to act upon the data and also predicting, how the future will be. So that is something which makes this as a game changer.
If artificial intelligence predicts that the elephants will continue to move towards the train tracks, the team steps in. Even 2 days ago, we successfully helped 6 elephants cross the railway track. Track watchers promptly drove the elephants away from the railway track. Local youth are employed to work in the control room and along the railway line. They are a real boon to the project.
Young tribal people who have been working in this project and elsewhere also, I would call them as they are the heartbeats of our jungles. Taking them on board is the best thing that we can do because they are the people who know every single point in the jungle where the elephants are, where they will go, what season they will migrate, provided that they are given a little bit of a training.
Job opportunities for young people in the region, and safety for the elephants in the forest.
New technology always seems more efficient and cleaner, but old machines don't really have to be replaced to stay relevant. In Germany, a lot of businesses are now realizing that revamping their old equipment does not just save cost, but also helps cut down waste and resource use. It's a reminder that sustainability isn't always about shiny new tech. Sometimes it's just about rethinking what we already have.
A few buttons and it's up and running. This machine produces wood components wrapped in plastic film. The main customers of BMU are the furniture and construction industries. The family-run business in northwestern Germany employs 150 people. It was founded over 40 years ago, and some of the machines are starting to show their age. Buying new ones is expensive, so Managing Director Klaus-Dieter Brinkmann decided to completely rebuild the old machines instead, a process called retrofitting.
We decided to go with retrofitting because it offers several advantages. For one, it allows us to integrate custom solutions. We can also raise the energy efficiency of an old system to the level of a new one.
In Germany, industrial machines typically last between 15 and 25 years. A lot can change in that time in terms of efficiency and sustainability demands. And high energy prices are currently putting pressure on many businesses.
This machine is about 30 years old. The green paint itself gives away its age. Here you can see it has completely inefficient, outdated motors. The units are in serious need of an overhaul. The whole machine just isn't up to today's energy standards, so it'll be completely gutted. The units will be fully refurbished. The valuable part of the machine is the steel framework. That's what we'll reuse.
Mechanical engineering is one of the most resource-intensive industries. It consumes large amounts of metals like steel, aluminium and copper. Industrial production also uses a lot of energy and water. In 2024, industry accounted for around 44% of electricity consumption in Germany. The government wants to reduce raw material usage by 1/3 by 2030. Retrofitting plays an important role in that, says Roman Dumitrescu from the Fraunhofer Institute in Paderborn. He's an expert in product development and digital engineering.
The big advantage is you don't have to go back to the start of the chain like mining iron ore. You can reuse materials that have already been processed.
BMU's machines are being modernised just a few kilometres away from their headquarters by another company.
The machines arrive here dirty, worn out. Some have been in use for 20 or even 30 years. We take out all the cables and the pneumatic systems. Then we have the processing units. These are the parts that actually handle the materials. And here you can see those units are removed and refurbished.
In the workshop, one of BMU's old machines is in the middle of a full rebuild. It's already been freshly painted, and almost all its components have been replaced or overhauled.
Right now, we're halfway through the retrofitting process. Like all BMU machines, it started out green. We've completely taken it apart, stripped out all the units, everything. We're keeping the heavy-duty metal structure, which is the valuable part. All the units are now in our workshop being refurbished. Once they're ready, we'll reinstall them, add new covers, and then the machine will run like new.
Wehrmann is part of a used machine dealership. It's a global business, says Gindermack CEO Benedikt Roof. Machines here in the factory are waiting to be resold.
We determine the market value and advertise the machine globally. Once we have a buyer, we handle the export. Used machinery is a multi-billion-dollar industry and usually involves overseas shipping, like to Asia.
And that's exactly where this machine is likely headed, to meet the growing demand for equipment in Asia's expanding industrial market.
That's all for today's episode. We all rely on technology, but a key question that we need to answer is, can fast progress in fields like artificial intelligence be harmonized with sustainability goals, rather than just focusing on the profits that they give us? Are you seeing any green innovations around you? Do let us know. We'd love to hear. And do not forget to follow us on our Instagram at DW_environment for more stories like this.
Yep, they are solar panels between the tracks of a railway line. A Swiss startup has installed them on a 100-meter stretch to test whether solar power and train traffic can exist side by side, making use of the space that's already there. The electricity is fed into the local power grid. It's estimated it will cover the needs of 4 households. If applied to the entire Swiss rail network, the energy provided could amount to up to 2% of the country's electricity needs. The company behind the panels says they are quickly installed and removed if the tracks need maintenance, and that they can be kept clean with brushes placed at the rear of passing trains. This is just one of several ideas combining solar with existing infrastructure like highways or parking lots. It's not clear yet whether these panels are cost effective or can withstand the train traffic. The pilot's underway for 3 years.
I will see you next week with more such stories. Thank you so much for joining us. Until then, take care, goodbye, namaskar.